We're here once again on East Coast Gear Supply. I'm here with owner-operator Chase. We've been talking about all kinds of axles, but today we're going to talk about not a crate axle, not a giant kingpin. We're talking about possibly your most popular product, and that's that one little bushing right there, right?
Correct. Yep.
So what is it, and why does why do Toyota guys need that part?
So there's a lot of information on the internet that you can read, but generally in the Toyotas, when they went to all their IFS diffs that were disconnect, meaning they're going to disconnect one side of the axle and then one CV is going to spin all the time with no back pressure on it. So all it's doing is it's spinning through the spider gears. So when that happens, Toyota put a needle bearing in their carrier to try to support this CV shaft that can be spinning at 100 miles an hour. And it's just spinning through the spider gears. Well, when that happens, it'll get a slight imbalance and you'll hear it a little bit as a noise and you'll feel a little vibration, usually in the gas pedal. So it's not going to be like a seat vibration like you would from a drive shaft or tires, but you'll feel it in the gas pedal. And it's just like a really annoying hum vibe that you can just barely hear and feel.
Okay.
So many years ago, it's probably like 12 years ago, local customer says, got this Toyota, love it. I cannot stand this little vibration. And he's like, what do you think it is? And we check it out. It's not tires, it's not drive shaft. And at first we're like, we don't even know what you're talking about. So we go take a test drive with him. I drive it, he drives it. And I'm like, okay, no, I get it. I can feel it. I hear it. I'm like, yeah, I've always wondered about this front clamshell design. This spider gear does not pilot into a tight bore. So this needle bearing has to do 90% of the support of that CV shaft. And I'm like, in Toyotas, there is a good amount of slop. So I started to think of a way, how do we control this movement of the CV shaft? PTFE bearing is a type of bearing that is used in a lot of industrial applications in machinery, and it's actually used in aircraft landing gear.
Okay.
And so they're designed to take a side load and spin at a high speed. And I'm like, okay, well, I think this is it. We just got to figure out how to get a PTFE bearing, inside this diff. And that was kind of it 12 years ago.
So that's what this is. This is a PTFE bearing
Yep.
that replaces this little needle bearing in here
Yep.
to remove the slots.
Correct.
And why do we only need it on the short side axle and not the long side axle?
So when this is your high pinion 8-inch clamshell from like a 05 and newer Tacoma, and the CV goes directly into the carrier and rides in this needle bearing. On the other side, you have a tube. Well, in the tube is this shaft, and this ball bearing goes on the end, and then the CV plugs in here. So on this side, you've got this nice, great big bearing supporting your CV shaft. So there is a needle bearing on both sides of the carrier, but on this tube side, there's zero load on that needle bearing. So you don't need to mess with it. You could put a bushing in there, but there's no point.
Okay.
So
you need it on this one. And so it's not just the bushing, you sell the entire kit. So what does each part of this kit do?
These represent the years of East Coast Gear Supply getting better.
Okay. Perfect. I love this. All right.
So, we started selling the bushing. We kind of played with different tools that are on the market, like pilot bearing removal tools, but it would break the finger or it would destroy the needle bearing. And then needle bearings go everywhere. So we, designed this little tool. This insert piece goes behind the needle bearing. Then you screw the threaded rod in, and this is on the outside of the casting, and then you just draw it out.
So that pulls our needle bearing out.
Correct.
So now the needle bearing, which is right here, has now been pulled out of the differential.
Yep. So it gets pulled out. So that was like year one. And then as we progress, it's like, man, it'd be a lot. How do you get this bushing in? It's kind of hard. And we just had, regular aluminum pucks to drive it in. But you'll see when you actually do one, there's not pretty confined space.
Yeah.
And so then we're like, okay, well, let's make an installer tool that sets the depth of the bearing. So we'll sell you this little piece. Bushing goes right on there. And you'll notice there's a little lip here. So that'll actually bottom out when you've hit it home.
When the bushing's in the right spot.
So it's in the right spot. Plus, when you're trying to get it in there and you're all crammed up, this is holding the bushing for you. So you just drop it in there, pound it in. And then on a Toyota, if you notice how the seal goes in, you want to make sure this is square. And again, you're trying to hold it up there and you don't want to damage the seal. Plus there's this outer dust seal here that you don't want to mush when you're pushing it in. So same driver piece, the Delrin that pilots the bushing just pops off, and then there you go.
And then it looks like that.
Then you bolt on this piece, that pilot's in there, and again, while you're underneath there, it'll hold it for you. Then you drive it in, and again, it'll bottom out right here, so you know this seal's nice and square.
Perfect. So and then this, you said you have this bushing for all the years of this clamshell diff, right?
Correct. So Toyota came out with IFS in '86, and it was the 7.5. And then in '03, they came out with the 8-inch, a little bit bigger. So each, series of diff gets bigger. And then you have your Tundra, the '07 and newer Tundra has the 9-inch in it. And incidentally, we sell the most for the '05 and up Tacomas, but the biggest difference I see is in the Tundras. And a lot of that is there's a lot more aftermarket support, builders of Tacomas, guys running them, but we'll have more like business executives come in their Tundra and they're like, Toyota dealer told us it needs a front diff. I'm like, no, it does not. Watch this, and in an hour, you're good to go
and happy.
And for a very limited cost. So, if you go read on the internet, there's TSBs from Toyota on this. We sell a lot of these to the Toyota dealers because their TSB is to replace the diff, but you put another 15, 20,000 miles on the diff and it loosens back up the noise, the vibration comes back. So
same problem shows up again.
Yeah.
So this eliminate. Do you notice more of an issue if the Tacoma has been lifted or long traveled?
Yeah.
Does it exacerbate it at that point?
Yeah. So definitely as you increase the height and kind of put more stress on that and CV shaft, you will get more, of a vibration. But even in a bone stock, Tacoma, you'll get it. Plus, like when you start getting into like the 16 plus, as the Toyotas get newer, they also get quieter. And so you start picking up on all the
noise a lot more.
So,
Yeah.
in your 95, 96 Tacoma, people are like, I don't hear anything. Now you get to your 2016, and it's like, hey, what's that noise? So, all the year ranges are covered.
There you go. So if you have a Toyota, this little bushing is what you need to make it better, and you get it at East Coast Gear Supply.